Dear listeners and viewers, now I have come with a beautiful play, A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. Tennessee Williams is considered to be one of the greatest and most well-known American playwrights of the 20th century. Whatever he has depicted is based on realism. Realism, I mean that the characters he has created and the plot he has mentioned in his plays are based on realism. And we may see that these things are happening in our daily life. Before I switch over to the play A Streetcar Named Desire, I would like to give a brief account of the biography of the writer, which will help you to understand this difficult play. So let us begin with the life story of Tennessee Williams. He was born in 1911 in Columbus, Mississippi. His original name was Thomas Lanier Williams. In the year 1939, he adopted this name Tennessee Williams. The first 7 years of his life were spent at his grandfather's house, with whom he traveled different parts of Europe. His father was a traveling salesman, coarse in nature, and excessively addicted to alcoholism. This forced the author to develop a hate-filled relationship with his father at an earlier stage of his life. This type of bitterness further increased when the family decided to move to St. Louis. His father's alcoholism and rudeness further increased and multiplied. Williams was very close to his sister Rose. Unfortunately, Rose suffered mental problems and she was taken to mental asylum, where she was lobotomized despite the opposition of Williams, and finally Rose died. The death of his sister had a great impact on mental states of Williams. He suffered from alienation and loneliness. However, he tried to continue his education with great difficulties. He graduated from University of Iowa in 1939. Williams received training for writing plays. He joined playwriting classes, the New School in New York City. There he received training for writing plays. He began writing since childhood. The joining of this school proved a turning point in his life. He wrote 25 plays in his time life and finally died in 1983. His first play, The Glass Menagerie, appeared in 1944, which was a overwhelming success and won New York City's Circle Award for him. A Streetcar Named Desire appeared in 1947, which was adapted for a film and won Pulitzer Prize. Next, A Cat on Tin Hot Roof appeared in 1955, which also won a Pulitzer Prize. His famous works are Rose Tattoo, Suddenly Last Summer, Sweet Birds of the Youth, and many more. Thus, Tennessee Williams wrote a large number of plays in his life. He is a realistic writer. The characters that he creates, the language they speak, are drawn from real life. So when we watch his plays, we feel that this is happening in our real life because dialogue is interconnected to our real life. His plays carry central idea, that is to say that he focuses more on central idea rather than the theme of the plays or the plot. The diction is poetic. This is the style of his writing. And language is, of course, one of the best tools he has used in his plays. The kind of language Williams uses is more important. He tries to maintain the real depiction of language. Thus, he challenges the language in a sense. As to language can be kept realistic as well as poetic. William is fascinated with Freudian psychology. Many of his characters, as well as themes, are inspired by Freudian approach. He is much more interested in the psychology of the characters. He depicts as that his characters do in a particular action and why they do it. That is to say that his characters' actions depict everything. Williams is also fascinated by notions of obsessions or preoccupations of his characters. He is also interested in Gothic setting of the of the play. He has portrayed the characters in such a manner that they express a realistic approach. At the end of his career, he began to write in expressionistic form. This means that he was developing a kind of ideas which were meaningful and beautiful. Sometime in his life, he felt that he is going to die within a few months. That's why he wanted to tell about his unfulfilled desires of his life. And he is approaching death. It is a sad moment for him. But he also realizes that it is an ultimate reality. That's why he wrote this play in the year 1947. The setting of the play is only one place, a two-story flat in New Orleans. During the time period in which the play was set, New Orleans was transforming from the old aristocratic South to the new industrialized South. You must be knowing that aristocratic norms in South America was on decline, and the aristocratic families or people were not ready to accept this kind of change that was happening over there. Before I switch over to the summary of the novel, play, I would like to mention the important characters so that you can better understand the summary, theme, and titles of the play. A streetcar named Desire have not more than 5-10 important characters whom I narrate separately. The most important character is Blanche Dubois, the protagonist of the play. She has been shaped on the lines of his sister. Here his means William's sister Rose. And next important anti-hero character is Stanley Kowalski, who is from Poland and popularly called Polak. Kowalski is set on the lines of the life of his father, who was known for his cruelty. The novel also carries many of the unfulfilled desires and feelings of Tennessee. Blanche Dubois is, of course, the chief character of the play. Blanche Dubois is a French name, as the ancestors of the Blanche are of French origin, who settled in Laurel, Mississippi. Blanche means white, and Dubois means from woods. White depicts the color of purity and innocence, and so as the woods speak of innocence, she is about 30 years old, but she looks older than what she is. Now I will switch over to the next character, Stella Kowalski. She is the younger sister of Blanche and lives with her husband in two-bed room apartment in New Orleans. She is quite happy with her husband. She has accepted the changes that have taken place in the aristocratic society in the South America. She had adapted well with the working class lifestyle of her husband Stanley, and she is quite happy with this lifestyle she has got into. She is a relic of earlier social hierarchy of American impoverished aristocracy. She is about 25 years old. She does not have upper class sophistication like Blanche. Stella's union with Stanley is both animal and spiritual, violent but renewing. After Blanche's arrival, Stella is torn between her husband and Stanley. Between her sister and Stanley. Eventually, she stands by her husband. Perhaps in this part, she gives birth to Stanley's child almost at the near of the play. Next character is Stanley Kowalski. He is a husband of Stella and appears to be very loyal and honest to his wife in the beginning. He works as an auto part supplier. He is a strong conviction is that he is a man of great importance. In a sense, he represents American power. He has a strong muscular build coupled with working class background gives him aggressive outlook, and this is also reflected in his tone and actions. His language is very unsophisticated, non-grammatical. He is like as manual labor. If we see his body, he is muscular and strong. He is epitome of vital force. He is also loyal to his friends. He is around 30 years old. Now next character is Harold Mitchell. He is Stanley's friend who joins the game of poker at Stanley's house. Though he too belongs to working class, he is gentle. He is seen comforting Blanche when she is in trouble. He knows that in terms of language and mannerism, he never matches to Blanche. He tries his best and wants to marry her, but he ultimately leaves her when he comes to know about Blanche's real life and tries to have sex with her, but he is denied. Next character is Eunice and Steve. They are very close neighbor of Stanley and Stella. They are wife and husband, and they are the neighbors of the Stella and Stanley and live just upstairs of the apartment. Eunice is very close to Stella and is seen comforting Stella at times. Steve is a friend of Stanley and is a regular participant in poker game at Stanley's place. The next character is Shaw. SHAW, Shaw. Shaw works with Stanley. He works as an informer to Stanley about Blanche's past scandalous life. Minor characters are Shep Huntley. He is a former suitor of Blanche who believes that he will help her and her sister to run away from New Orleans. He is now a millionaire and is living in Texas. Next character is Alan Gray. Blanche married him as a teenager, but when she came to know about his homosexual relations, she reputed him, and as a result he committed suicide. Another minor characters are a young collector, a Negro woman, and a prostitute, a doctor, and a nurse. All these characters form the part of the plays. The play is very beautiful, and if you remember all the names and characters which I have depicted, it will be very easier to understand the summary, themes and titles of the novel, which is not very easy